Hello, wanderer of time. If you're reading these words, it's not by chance. Some part of you, deep and ancient, has guided you here. Maybe you felt it, a strange familiarity with places you've never visited, emotions that come without a source, or talents that seem to arrive from nowhere. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt older than your age? As if your soul has seen more than your eyes ever have? You are not alone. Everything you are today, your fears, your passions, your spontaneous instincts, is part of a story much older than this lifetime. But this is not a story of fate. It is a story of memory, of reincarnation. Today, I invite you to walk with me through a doorway that many never dare to open. We will explore 9 signs that your soul may have lived before, and one powerful gift that only the most sensitive among us carry. Let's begin where most journeys begin, in a place that feels oddly familiar. Sign 1, déjà vu. When the past bleeds through you, step into a city you've never visited before. The air has a taste you recognize. The cobblestones beneath your feet feel like home. And then it happens. A sudden rush of knowing, so vivid, so real, it takes your breath away. You stand still, and for a fleeting moment, time folds. The crowd fades into silence, and you feel it deep in your bones. I've been here. Science may call it a glitch, a neurological hiccup, but the soul knows otherwise. It is not error, it is memory. You see, déjà vu isn't just about strange familiarity. It is a crack, however small, in the veil of forgetfulness that every soul agrees to wear before returning to Earth. A moment where the soul leaks through, a brief return to something buried beneath the layers of this life. I remember someone, let's call her Alara, who once told me she visited a village in the hills of Tuscany. She had never studied Italian history, never seen a photo of the place, yet she walked with certainty, turning corners before seeing what lay beyond them. She stopped before a ruined fountain and whispered, "It used to be here." A local overheard her. "Yes," he said slowly, "centuries ago." Tears welled in her eyes, not from sadness, but from reunion. This is the echo of other lives, and when it calls, it rarely shouts, it whispers, but if you listen closely, you'll feel the pulse of your own history beating beneath your skin. Sign 2, instant connections, the soul's silent reunion. Sometimes we meet someone and it feels like the universe pauses. No introductions, no awkward small talk, just recognition. Your eyes meet, and suddenly it's as if you remember how they laugh. You know their rhythm, the way they speak, the weight of their silences. You finish their sentences, feel their joy, ache at their sorrow. You don't fall into conversation, you continue it. This, my friend, is not new. It's ancient. It is a meeting not of strangers, but of souls who've traveled together before. In other lives, you may have been lovers, friends, mentors, even rivals. And now, across time's great river, you find each other again, wearing different bodies, different names, but the same essence. I once witnessed a man and woman meet at a quiet bookstore. They reached for the same book, their fingers brushed, both paused, both smiled, and the world around them seemed to fade. Within minutes, they laughed like old companions. Neither could explain it, but neither questioned it, because some truths are felt, not spoken. These connections are not about chemistry, they are memory. The soul remembers what the mind forgets. So the next time you meet someone and feel like you've known them forever, don't dismiss it. It may not be your first meeting, only your latest. Sign 3, unexplainable talents. When the soul remembers its craft. There's a child who sits at a piano and plays melodies as if they've known them for centuries. Another picks up a brush and paints with depth beyond their years. No lessons, no training, just knowing. Have you ever asked yourself, how do I know this when no one ever taught me? This is the memory of the soul. In each life, we gather experiences. We learn, stumble, master, and create. And when the soul returns, it carries these echoes like seeds hidden in the soil, waiting for the right moment to sprout again. I knew a boy named Dario. At age 7, he could read ancient Sanskrit texts. No one in his family knew the language. No one taught him, but he spoke with clarity, as though it flowed through him. When asked how he learned, he simply said, "I didn't, I just remember." We often call this genius or natural gift, but many of these gifts are not new, they are old. They are the fingerprints of past lives resurfacing in the present. Even wisdom can be a sign. That friend who seems to see through problems like a sage, the child who speaks with the calm of an elder, the artist who creates like they've painted for lifetimes. These are not accidents. They are the soul speaking through skill, the past whispering through the fingertips. And when you find something that flows from you so naturally it feels sacred, pay attention. It might not be the first time you've done it, just the first time you remember. Sign 4, vivid dreams and spontaneous memories. The soul's hidden films. Have you ever woken up from a dream that felt more real than waking life? The scent of ancient wood, the rustle of robes, the echo of voices that speak a language your mouth has never uttered, and yet somehow you understood. Or perhaps you've seen places in your mind, villages, temples, battlefields, none of which exist in this life, yet your heart swears they were once home. These are not merely dreams, they are fragments. Our soul, vast and layered, stores everything it has lived. But sometimes when our minds quiet, during sleep, meditation, or even random silence, those layers lift, and memories come. There was a woman named Samira who kept dreaming of walking along a river surrounded by golden-leafed trees. Each time she wore the same long garment, held a wooden staff, and chanted in a language she never learned. After weeks of these visions, she began researching ancient tribes, and to her astonishment, she found images, clothing, staffs, chants that matched her dreams exactly. They belonged to a lost civilization in northern India. And Samira, she had never been there. Not in this life. Some may call this coincidence, but the soul calls it remembering. These dreams and memories are the soul's way of reminding us of unfinished stories. They are not hallucinations, they are windows, and sometimes they open without warning. So when a moment, a place, or a dream leaves you with an emotion too big to name, don't discard it. It might be a message from a life your soul has lived and is ready to revisit. Sign 5, unexplained fears and phobias, echoes of old wounds. You fear the ocean but have never nearly drowned. Heights paralyze you though you've never fallen. Closed spaces, fire, bridges, crowds, they trigger you though logic offers no cause. And yet the fear is real, visceral, unshakable. Where does it come from? The body forgets, the mind rationalizes, but the soul remembers. Some fears are not born in this life. They are carried like old bruises passed from lifetime to lifetime, waiting to be understood, not ignored. I once knew a man who had a deep fear of swords. Even the sight of one made his hands shake. He wasn't a victim of violence. He never held a weapon. But during a regression therapy session, he recalled standing in a stone courtyard, being accused of treason, and the cold steel that ended that life. He didn't cry. He didn't tremble. He simply said, "Now it makes sense." These are echoes, not fantasies. When pain is too great, too sudden, or unresolved, it leaves a fingerprint on the soul. Not to punish, but to protect. Fear is the soul's alarm, and when it seems irrational, it might mean it's not from this chapter of your story, but the ones before. Acknowledging these fears is the beginning of healing, because only when seen can they be released. Sign 6, fascination with certain cultures or eras, the soul's distant homes. You walk through a museum and stop in front of a display from ancient Egypt. Your chest tightens, your eyes blur. Something inside you stirs, but you've never studied Egypt, never been there, never even liked history class. So why does your heart ache as if it remembers? Some call it curiosity, but sometimes it's not curiosity at all, it's longing. Have you ever felt a deep pull toward a specific time, like the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, or tribal Africa? Have you been drawn to cultures, costumes, rituals, or architecture that no one around you relates to? You might not be imagining it. You might be remembering. The soul has lived through many ages, rising with empires, fleeing from wars, dancing in temples, writing under candlelight. It absorbs color, sound, language, rhythm, and these imprints stay, quietly etched into its essence. One woman I knew couldn't stop watching Viking documentaries. She wore Norse symbols, listened to Nordic folk music, and cried every time she saw longboats. She didn't know why, until one night she dreamed of standing on a snowy shore watching a ship vanish into the fog, her son aboard. She woke up sobbing. She didn't need confirmation. She knew. So if your heart races when you see ancient manuscripts, or you feel oddly home in castles or desert ruins, pay attention. It may not be nostalgia, it may be remembrance. And the soul always finds its way back to the places it once called sacred. Sign 7, feeling like an old soul. The wisdom you didn't earn in this life you've always felt different. While others chase trends, you seek truths. You enjoy quiet more than noise, depth more than small talk, solitude more than spectacle. You observe rather than react. You reflect, even as others rush. Since childhood, people may have told you, you're mature for your age, you're like an old soul. And maybe deep inside you've always known they're right. Because you've been here before. Old souls carry a weight not of sorrow, but of stories. They've lived through empires and exiles, through heartbreak and healing, and now they walk this life with a calm that confuses those who haven't yet seen as much. They're often misunderstood, not out of strangeness, but out of stillness. They don't need to prove, impress, or dominate. They know what matters. You might notice it in the way you console others, in how you stay composed when storms rage around you, in how you seek meaning where others seek distraction. I knew a young girl named Talia, only 10, but when her grandmother passed away, she held her mother's hand and said, "Don't cry, Mama. She's just traveling ahead. We'll see her again." No one taught her that. She simply remembered. Old souls aren't wiser because they read more. They're wiser because they've lived more. So if you've ever felt out of place, too deep, or too quiet, you may not be broken. You may just be ancient. Sign 8. Repeating life patterns, when the soul tries again. Why do some people always attract the same kind of relationship? Why do certain mistakes repeat, no matter how hard we try to avoid them? It's not always bad luck, and it's not punishment. It's the soul repeating a lesson. You see, every soul carries open chapters, unfinished emotions, unresolved choices, karmic promises. And life, in its infinite wisdom, offers us scenes that look new, but underneath, they carry the same test, different faces, same feeling, different circumstances, same challenge, until we understand. There was a man named Elias who kept entering partnerships where he felt unseen. Each time he tried to be better, give more, try harder, but the pain repeated. It wasn't until he asked, "What is this trying to teach me?" that something shifted. He realized, in every lifetime, he gave to receive love, but never gave it to himself. That was the lesson. And once it was learned, the pattern ended. These cycles aren't here to trap us, they're here to free us. But only if we pause and listen. So if your life feels like a wheel, same themes, same heartbreaks, same conflicts, don't despair. It means your soul is trying again. Not because it failed, but because it's ready to finally pass the test. Sign 9, the deep inner calling, a restlessness that won't let go. You have a job, a home, maybe even love, but something is missing. Not something you can see or name, but something your soul won't stop whispering about. It's a kind of hunger, not for success, money, or recognition, but for meaning. Even in moments of joy, a shadow lingers, a question with no language. Is this all there is? This is the soul's most sacred signal, a longing not born of lack, but of memory. Because deep inside, your soul remembers a higher purpose, a mission, a promise, a truth that was once clear and is now waiting to be remembered. That's why no achievement feels final, why the world sometimes feels too small, why your heart is drawn to stars, silence, symbols, and sacred things. You are not lost, you are being summoned, and those who feel this ache, the pull toward philosophy, spirituality, creation, or service, are not broken. They are simply hearing the soul's call to return, to reconnect with something vast, eternal, and whole. So if you've ever stared at the night sky and felt homesick for a place you can't name, listen. That is not emptiness. That is memory, waking up. So now you've seen the signs, you've heard the whispers, maybe you've felt something stirred deep inside. But what if this is only the beginning? What if these memories, these longings, these strange connections are not just remnants of the past, but invitations for the future? The soul doesn't just remember, it prepares for what comes next, for what you're becoming. And perhaps, just perhaps, the very reason you've been drawn to these words is because your journey is about to change. The next chapter is waiting, the next awakening is near. And when the soul is ready, the path always reveals itself. But that is a story for another time.